two unfamiliar teams are contenders this year in the American League and National League. Which one will make the playoffs, or will they both? Hey everybody, it's Paulie. Welcome back to This Week in Red, where we're talking all things Major League Baseball. So we're in the heat of the pennant race here in the middle of July, and two teams that aren't usually in the race are hot contenders this year. Both the Cleveland Indians in the American League and the Pittsburgh Pirates in the National League are either in first place or have been hovering around first place most of the season. But the big question is, which one or both of them will make the playoffs? And I think of the two teams, the Indians are the better shot here. They're in a weaker division. The teams in that division, the Tigers, the White Sox, and Twins, which are the main contenders, are all weaker than some of the National League Central teams, which we'll get to in a minute. I think the Indians in first place is a big surprise, but I also think they have a better chance to hold on and win that division, as opposed to the teams chasing them, the Twins, the White Sox, and the Tigers. All those teams have severe warts, as do the Indians. But I really believe the Indians, under manager Manny Acta, have an excellent shot to win this division and get in the playoffs. And in this day and age, in the playoffs, that's your only goal. Get to the playoffs and get in. And you have to look no further back than the 2006 Cardinals. Nobody thought much of them. They won 80-something games and got in the playoffs. They ended up beating the Mets in the League Championship Series, got to the World Series against the heavily favored Detroit Tigers. And because the Tigers played just an error-filled series, the Cards ended up winning a World Championship in 2006 unexpectedly. And it's teams like that that give teams like the Indians the hope of, hey, let's get in the playoffs and we'll take things from there. And I really think the Indians have kind of they've withstood the challenges of both the Twins and the Tigers at different times this year to hold on to first place. I think that they'll make a trade or two and that it will continue into September, and I think the Indians will pull through. Now in the National League, you have the Pirates, who haven't won anything since 1992 when they last made an appearance in the League Championship Series. And they are a huge surprise in that division. But they've got two teams in there, in the Cardinals and the Brewers, that are much tougher competition than the teams in the American League. And so I think it's going to be a rougher road for the Pirates to stay in first place and make the playoffs. I don't think you're going to see a wild card come out of there. So it's going to be winner take all in the Central. Now the Pirates are in a weird situation. They're always sellers year after year, and because they've been sellers, they've managed to build up their roster of players, and their young players have now come together, and they're contenders. But now they're in a position to be buyers. And one player that they're probably looking at heavily is Carlos Beltran of the Mets. Now, the Mets aren't sure if they're going to trade Beltran, although it does look likely. The Pirates would be a great team for him to go to in a great situation. The problem is they need Beltran to waive his no-trade clause in order to go to Pittsburgh. Now, whether he'll do that or not remains to be seen. He says he's all about winning, and if he is, and the Pirates are willing to make a deal with the Mets, Beltran should waive his clause, and he should go to the Pirates. And it would be wonderful if this team won the division and made the playoffs, because they're one of the marquee franchises in baseball. They deserve a good team, and they finally look like they have one under Clint Hurdle. But it's going to be tough with the Cardinals and Brewers in that division. And unfortunately, because of that factor, I don't think the Pirates are going to be able to pull through. I think the Cardinals' experience and the Brewers making a deal for Frankie Rodriguez of the Mets and some other deals that they might make, and having Prince Fielder and having Ryan Braun, I think that's going to be a big difference. I look for the Brewers to win that division, but I do look for the Pirates to take it down to the wire, whether they acquire Beltran or not. But what do you guys think? Of these two surprising teams, the Indians and the Pirates, which one do you think is the bigger surprise, and do you think either of them will make the playoffs? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and tell all your friends about This Week in Red.